Right, live but with no people. This is the bit that you people who are watching it afterwards get that no one else does. So I still don't know if the microphone is working or the camera. The camera's... I should put the phone on silent. I'm putting the phone on silent now. Hasn't shown up yet. Oh, 4 people. Hello. Hello. Right. So can you both see me and hear me? And is the volume all right and all that stuff? Someone, please. Yes to all. Woo! Okay, so the first public live stream. And those of you who've seen my private live streams before will be able to see that I've tidied the room. This used to be an office full of absolute junk. It is now full of less junk and more stuff. And I've had overflows from the hobby room as well. So not only are those cupboards entirely full of models, I've now got cupboard models on these shelves as well. There's just I'm officially into 3 rooms of the house now. At some point, it will just become all in. I'll have to build more stories on the house. Oh, what is this? Is actual daylight? I know it burns. So, hello to everyone who has said hello. Good morning in Texas. Donald, is that Minis or Minis, or is that a surname? I'm not sure. Good morning, Donald. And Newfoundland in Canada. Yeah, Andrew, crow statue. I've had it for a long time. Lemmy knocked it over and it's got a broken foot. If I touch it even slightly, it'll fall off its foot. So it was once fully posable. Not anymore. How do you plebs have access? Why can I speak? How did the plebs have access? I said on the community tab that this was going to happen because I don't understand. Yeah, the Funko Marines. The only one I don't have is the Ultramarine Funko Marine because I don't think it's a very good model. It's a bit dull, and that is not what Ultramarines are like. Can you see Paul with the hat? Maybe later, depending on how crazy it all goes. Where have you put it all? Most of it in the bin. The rest of it in these boxes. You might think these are nicely organized boxes. No. They are simply vessels for chaos. I mean, this one, what does this one even contain? God, that's heavy. Wires and cables and old headphones and stuff. Probably never use them. But, throwing them out would seem wrong, yeah? If I threw it all out, then I'd need one of them. Use the fridge to store minis. Maybe the Valhallans. Evening from Oz. Now, is that I assume that's Australia rather than Austria? Because yes, it wouldn't be evening in Austria. And Pennsylvania. Oh wow, so many folks from so far and wide over the globe. And from Austria. Austria. I can read. I promise I can read. The typing is very, very, very small. And I have to squint like this, and then you see my balding spot. So, hello in Austria. Vessels for chaos, yes. Oh, when I get an email, it now blips over the chat. Box of wires. That is not the only box of wires. I have 20-year-old boxes of wires in my shed, which are like this big and full of wires that I will never use again. I've probably got like 30 SCART cables and like SCART to phono adapters and stuff. Very true. Every man has got a box of cables he will never use, but they might be of use. It's like, I've got a thing. It's given me a 99 pence HDMI cable. No, I think I'll use the massively expensive one that I choose to believe makes a difference. Yes. I always believe that you should spend about 10% of the cost of your stereo on cables. I once knew a guy who bought a flashy new HD TV, and he just plugged it up with the SCART lead. He's like, oh, wow, this is great. It's like, dude, it's not HD. What do you mean it's an HD telly? And it went on like that. Is the box of wires the equivalent to a tin of old roses with the sewing stuff in? I've got one of those around here as well. I used to make a lot of costume in my live role-playing days because you couldn't just buy stuff off the shelf to fit me back in the day. You probably can now. So I've got a box of needles and threads and all sorts of random stuff like that as well. Yeah. Hello. 47 people. This is amazing. So. And the live chat is streaming a lot quicker than normal. Possibly because there are more people. So, what is the plan? The plan is I use the word plan wrongly. The plan is very loose. So I have. Thanks, guys. So many questions. Enjoy your content. Thank you very much. I'm glad people enjoy it. How am I doing? I'm doing good. I'm having a week where I'm not diabetic, which I'm sure Public Health England wouldn't approve of, but I'm having chocolate week. I haven't had anything sweet since December because of it wasn't a New Year's resolution. It was a January resolution, which I then kept. And then a February resolution, which I kept. And then I put in an Easter exemption and then kept. So I'm going to keep going on I'm going to keep going on. But I'm having a sugar week. So lots of questions that I'm going to struggle to keep up with. Okay, last spruce standing. If you're stuck out and about, don't worry. I will make it a playable video. And if it goes well, I'll do more again. Doing LARC and wargaming needs you to do lots of things. Yeah. Down in the games room. You can never see it because of where it is. My sewing machine is down in the games room. Yeah. Chocolate week is also twinned with takeaway week because I successfully managed to not have a takeaway since December. And considering I used to have like 5 a week, massive big deal for me. So yeah, chocolate week is twinned with takeaway week. All right, that's cool. So I was reading Chris's comments about not being into Warhammer previously, but liking the history and the narrative of all that stuff. Excellent. Did I get the new Warhammer Quest Cursed City box today? I did. I managed to I was on GW and it wasn't working. I was like, quick, check to Element. But GW might fix itself in the time in between. Element. Got it. Buy it. What do you mean my credit card's expired? Oh, shoot. Yes, it ran out yesterday. Change details. And I got one and thought, I'll go on the deployment zone WhatsApp group and say, guys, Element have got loads. And then 30 seconds later, one of the guys came back and said, no, they've just sold out. And I'm like, uh-oh. Waving, people saying hi. Can I randomly pick a non-Space Marine army for you? Yeah, sure. Bailtan Eldar. Sorry for the caps. Nah, no problem. Any major advice for a new Blood Angel player? Right. Okay. So how is this going to work? Because the questions are coming so thick and fast. Right. And I don't want to lose questions because they're going up the top. Right. What I think I'll do is when one comes up, I'll answer it, but that'll take a while. So feel free to put others on, but then I might sort of say like, all right, next question, and then I put them on again if I've missed them, and I'll scroll back up to try and find them. Oh, this 64 people. Wow. I normally get like 20 on my members' live streams at any one time. So this is really cool. I've also pressed some buttons on this that may do weird things to it, and I don't know how all it works. Specifically, Bale Tan Eldar. You asked. When are you spawning a Nid Force? Right, okay. All right, I'm going to put a pin in that just for a second. So the one below, Einhorn is a man. Einhorn? I think that's what it says. Just started building Grey Knight's army. Haven't played since the early 90s. Any advice for the beginner? Yes, absolutely. Follow the rule of cool. If you like the minis and you want to paint, if you pick minis you like and think are cool and build your army in a way that you think is cool, you're more likely to want to paint it. You're more likely to want to play it. And then play with people who want to play for fun rather than to play for win. Play for the win. I've played against people who just want to win, and I find it no fun. The only outcome is that one person is happy at the end and the other one is not. Whereas if you're both playing for fun, the outcome at the end can be that you've both had fun, and that is a win. And the result of the game is incidental. Then you're just telling the story of what happened on that day. Of course, everyone likes winning. Everyone likes their Grey Knight force annihilating the demons in front of them. But yeah, rule of cool. Time to get your Necrons painted and on the table. Kinda. Well, the thing I've got is the challenge I have at the moment is because I do roughly a battle report every other week for regular YouTube and roughly a battle report every week for members YouTube. I have to do roughly 6 in a month, and I work full time. And the filming takes quite a while, and I'm always having to paint things for the games that are coming up. So recently, I've kind of been chasing my tail. I say recently, the first few months of doing this, I've been sort of chasing my tail because I've picked plots that I think, oh yeah, man, that'd be really cool. And then in order to do it, I've had to paint more stuff, which has meant that I'm always painting what I'm doing now rather than what's coming in future. So what I'm doing at the moment is I'm now playing. I've got my next 3 mini campaigns are set, and then there's going to be another round of the War of the 10 Legions. So I've got roughly the next 3 months of content sorted in my head, most of which don't need much painting for. So I shall be looking ahead to other bigger projects that are going to take longer to do. Otherwise, I'd never get to them, you see. One of which are the Necrons and the Necron terrain. I've got about 20-odd buildings. So one of the first things I'm going to do next is I am going to do a test paint on my Necron and Orc terrain. I'll probably vlog about that and get a method I'm happy with for those. Then either start bashing through a whole load of the terrain, because I've also got a load of Secretary Primaris to do as well for some more Imperial battles. Or I'm going to start bashing through the Necrons, because way, way, way in the future, one of the campaigns I've got planned is Necrons and Admech and Craftwell the Laytok. What seems to work quite well is doing things with 3 factions. That seems to work quite well. I did the Iron Hands Gene Stealers Demons a little while ago and put the first one on public and the second 2 on members. That seemed to work quite well. Having the 3 different factions, 1 battle each, that worked pretty well. So I'm going to try and do a little bit more of that, which is really good. And I'm going to try and replicate that formula, except what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to do whole campaigns, or at least whole chapters of campaigns, either on the whole thing on public or the whole thing on members, rather than chopping and changing. If I'm doing a big campaign, I might do the first one on public and the rest on members. But if I'm doing like little chunks of 3, I'll either do them on public or members. I don't know where that question started, so I will now search for another question. Hello to everyone who said hello, who I haven't said hello to back yet. What are my thoughts on the Alpha Legion? The Alpha Legion as a narrative or as an army? Narrative, I really like them. They're very insidious, and it almost feels like I'm so excited. The desk's shaking. That's when my belly's touching the desk and I'm moving about. The camera shakes. And they've got lots of really lovely narrative elements. I think they do really well as an antagonist or a protagonist in a roleplay session, in a 40k roleplay. Because you have a few sort of insidious Marines with all their agents all over the place. And I think that is brilliant. They're a little trickier on the tabletop because you can't represent that side of their lore. And that side of their lore is a massive, massive thing. But you still can do some things with them. You can do very sneaky forces with small numbers of Marines, not so many of the big tanks and the really nasty, gribbly stuff. And cultists and those sorts of things. And if you use those stratagems, especially if, like, with my house rules, you don't have restrictions on the number of times you can play a stratagem in a given phase, it's like fighting smoke. They're here 1 minute, gone the next, right? They need to capture an objective over here. Unit disappears. Bing, they appear over there. It's really... It feels like fighting smoke, and it feels very true to how they're meant to be. I really like that. And then you can break out all the really big stuff for big fights, Hydra Dominatus. And they've also got, there are some really cool ways of choosing what period in time your Alpha Legion army is from. Because if you've got one, because of course the warp, ships can just jump in and out of the warp. Hundreds, thousands of years can have gone past. So you can have different war, and also Alpha Legion, they didn't all go to the Eye of Terror. Many, many of them didn't. So have become less corrupted by chaos. So you'll still have little war bands who are actually loyal to the throne world, but doing what they are doing because of what the Eldar told them, and they think they're serving the Emperor, right the way through to ones that have become totally and utterly corrupted by chaos and are basically just a frothing lunatic legion of chaos worshippers who are super stealthy and clandestine. And it's a scale, and you can sort of pitch your army anywhere on that scale to suit you, to suit what you want to do. Because my Alpha Legions, I'm using them a lot in the War of the 10 Legions, I can use, and the combination of models I've got, I can represent different warbands at different parts of the scale in different fights, which I like. Right. Another question. Hope you're having a great day. Your consistent paint models is staggering. Thanks. Are you as upset about the title Master Archon as I am? Well, I'd far rather that had been called the Archon and all the other ones were the Drakons, because that's what it's meant to be. The Archon is meant to be the head of the Cabal, and the Drakons are meant to be his lieutenants. You'd think that, well, codices are written by rules people. They aren't written by the narrative people. The narrative people sit in Black Library. The rules people sit in the codex writing thing. So, nah. It is what it is. I will be using the proper names in my games. In my orcs recently, I was saying, this is the Snakebite Big Boss, using the War Boss stats. Because, yeah, he's not a War Boss, but he's a Big Boss. Yeah. Following the old ways. Yeah. One moment. You normally don't see my Diet Coke addiction because I stop the camera in between whenever I'm filming. But wherever I am, I always keep a crate of Diet Coke. I've got them in like 5 rooms of the house so I don't have to move. I'm a chain drinker. Also not good for me, but it's the main reason why I never took up smoking when I was younger, because my personality is so addictive, I would be a chain smoker and I'd be dead. So I think Diet Coke, of all the things I could be addicted to, I'll take that. Right, next. I thought it was a diabetes-free week. Yes, it is, but I don't actually like the taste of red Coke. I find the sugar goes all on my teeth. And that's because I don't like the taste of red Coke. I don't drink black Coke, because black Coke is sugar-free red Coke, whereas silver Coke is silver Coke. And actually, in the evenings, I drink gold Coke, which is silver Coke without the caffeine. A friend of mine said a while ago, it's similar to Diet Coke. It's just missing something. And I'm like, yeah, mate, it's caffeine. Oh yeah. Right, when COVID is done, who is the first person you will play, Winters or Liam? Well, I can't possibly guarantee anything, but based on over the last 4 years, I've played Winters probably 20 times, and I've played Liam once. The odds are definitely in favour of Winters. Winters is also more flexible at the moment. Liam has a full-time job and a family and all sorts of stuff going on. Winters is doing this full-time and he doesn't have kids, and P90 is fairly self-sufficient. It's a hungry, scrounging cat, that one. It goes to the bowl and goes, meow, meow. He's chubby. So is P90. Hey. Right, another question. Hello, everyone. Can you give some advice on how you motivate yourself to turbo paint through your painting projects? Well, we're all different. We're all motivated in different ways. My mate Stormshroud, he used to do batch painting, but it was just a necessity he needed to do. Since picking up Infinity, check out Fast Panda Gaming, great channel. Stormshroud and the Claw, run that. If you like Infinity, go there. It's awesome. Since he started picking up Infinity, he can't paint single model. He can't batch paint anymore. He just can't do it. I ended up painting his Blood Bowl team because he just didn't have the capacity to batch paint anymore, because he paints individual models. I am the exact opposite. I hate painting individual models. But we are all different. The way I power through projects is I come up with a scheme. I line the paints up. In fact, I sometimes do them in a circle. I get a unit and I go round the paints, doing the whole system, ending with the basing. And then I just move the pot round the circle. There's a gap, right? And when I've done one pot, I move it along. Then I go to the next pot and then move them along. And then when I've got to the end, I've done a unit. And I do that whilst watching something on the telly, or something that I've seen before that I like, that I can listen to, look up for the really cool bits, but then I can just switch my brain off and just go on automatic because I know the process, and I find that really zen. And that's how I power through stuff, because I really find it very, very relaxing. Where I struggle is where the painting techniques require me to concentrate or make decisions. That's when I slow down. I go, what color am I going to paint this now? I don't know how to layer the thing. Oh, God, this is a highlight bit. I'm rubbish at highlighting. Inks and dry brushes are my thing, because I choose for it to look good 2 feet away from the camera or my head. Very few of my models look any good from this distance. It's all shades and smoke and mirrors. But that's how I motivate myself. I am a batch painter. So I do a shed load of building. I think I've pointed to my shelves in that room. You can see the shelves just about. In fact, There you go. That is a little bit of, I think it's my Gene Stealers. I've just painted or I assembled all of them. I can now just plow through them when I get the inspiration to do the Gene Stealers. So yeah, big batches of building. Then I'm done building, clear all the building stuff away, clean the table, painting mode. That's how I do it, but we are all different. Some people I know my friend Sooty, when he gets the inspiration to paint, he likes to do 2 models. He doesn't like doing batches. He gets very bored. He likes doing the detail, but he finds doing 2 of them means he doesn't have to swap between the paints quite so quickly. Also, if he gets 2 from the pack that are pretty much the same, either the same pose, then he can just repeat what he's doing. That works really well for him. Some people, they totally just, one model, paint this one model. Next model, paint that one model. You got to find your own. You got to find your own mojo. But that's where I get my mojo from. Right. What else? What do you think of 40k video games? Have you got your favorites? Yeah, Dawn of War, the original Dawn of War. I played that to absolute death. I can lose weeks playing that game. I always loved God games, strategy games. Used to really like StarCraft and like Warcraft 3 and Populous and Civ and all those. And Dawn of War got me back into 40k. I had been on the traditional university and booze hiatus. And then when my mate Stormshroud, who'd been working overseas, came back and said, they've just released this new game. What new game? Laptop. Buy a new PC. Buy a game. Lose life. I also love Space Marine on the PS3. So tragic they never made any sequels to that. Yeah. Right, another question. What's my favorite army to paint? Ooh. I never. Unfortunately, now everyone has to watch me staring out the window whilst I try to think of the actual answer. Probably. I don't know. There are some units I enjoy painting very much. I love painting Howling Banshees. I just love the layering of the bone. I say layering. Paint the model bone, ink it in sepia, paint the panels in bone, giggle, do the rest of the detail. I really enjoy that. I conversely really dislike anything where I have to be really precise on a lot of things. As fun as they are to play, orcs are the bane of my existence to paint because they've got straps and buckles and earrings. And there's just so many. I can't just dip the whole model in the paint and then go, and it's done. So equally, my fulminators are really easy to paint. It's such a simple system. I can do the units so quickly. I enjoy doing my Night Lords a lot. Fairly simple scheme. The blocking in is tedious, but not too bad. And I really like doing. I love is doing all the on any model, not just the Night Lords. I love doing the I love it where I've painted all the different colours, the base colours, and it looks shocking. And then I get the magic brush of Agrax Earthshade and go, it looks awesome. I like that stage of the process. That's a lot of fun. Right, next question. Have I tried 30k? No, I haven't. I enjoyed 7th Ed, and 30k is based on 7th Ed. But what I would have really liked is I would have really liked it if 30k shared the 40k rule set, but just with different army books and a different setting. Because I could also have used that to do Great Crusade stuff. Could have used Eldar, could have used Admech as Mechanicus, but then there are Mechanicus, her heresy. Could have used Eldar, could have used Orcs. And Drakari, and there are like, not every army, but you could have used a lot of armies to do Great Crusade campaign stuff, as well as Horus Heresy things. But the entry cost is high, right? If I want to do it, I've got to get new armies that are different to the ones I've got. I've got to get 2 of them to just play one game. I say one game, but to only ever play that combination. So the entry cost is high. And with everything I am doing and everything I've got on and all the 40k projects I've got, that's tough. That's a big ask. So no plans at this time. Right, gonna try and find. I missed all the earlier questions. I'm gonna try and find some of the earlier questions. I talked about random boxes of cables quite a lot. Out of the 9 Chaos Legions, which is your favorite to play? I love them all for very different reasons. I love getting into the mindset of playing the Chaos Legions. Tzeentch hurts my head, so they tend not to be my favorite. It's word bearers. It's word bearers. I love the simplicity of the holy war, and they're very easy to get in the headspace of, and you can just go, right, I'm just going to go over there and burn stuff and raise some idols to the dark gods. That's my thing. That's my jam. So I like playing my word bearers. I like playing them a lot. You don't really have to think. You just put your mindset put yourself in the mindset of them and then just go for it. Some of the others are a bit more challenging, like the World's Eaters, very easy mindset, but then you have to do okay, at what point do they become mindless psychopaths? Because they're not all mindless psychopaths until the nails kick in, until the butcher's nails bite. Because if they were, they'd murder everyone on their ships, so they wouldn't have any crew serfs or servitors or anything. They'd just all be dead. I do love the word bearers. Right, let's see what else I can find. I do apologize for missing some. Got any advice for a new Blood Angels player? A new Blood Angels player, I guess my advice is go with all the Primaris stuff. What I like from Blood Angels, I like all the old stuff. I like all the Baal Predators and the the veteran assault marines and the Death Company. I really like all that, and I like the fact that they're trying to be a Codex compliant army when they're really not. But the current Codex is very, very punchy. So I would still, whether we're talking Primaris or whether we're talking first generation Marines, I would own any Marine army. And given that they try to be Codex compliant, this applies to Blood Angels as well. I will always advocate a demi company core, 30 line troops, 10 close assault, and 10 fire support, because it is incredibly versatile. The Blood Angels, especially so, they can all get up close and violent, even the fire support stuff. So you've got a lot of shooting, you've got a lot of close combat, and you've got versatility. Marines make Marine armies. The vehicles are meant to be there from a narrative point of view as support, not as a replacement. Not sort of five intercessors. All right, I've got a patrol. Right, so I've got a couple of dreadnoughts, a couple of tanks. You really only see, narrative-wise, a couple of dreadnoughts, a couple of tanks when you've got like a company or a demi-company. So that's how I do it, and that's how I would suggest other people do it. But again, rule of cool applies. Follow your bliss, which is something Winters has started saying. I don't know where that's come from, but follow your rule of cool. Play what you want to play. Play what you think's cool. If you pick units you want, you're more likely to stick with them. You're more likely to want to paint them. You're more likely to want to play them. What else can we find? What else can we find? Is there a chance you would do an army showcase? There's every chance I will do army showcases, but the difficulty is when the aforementioned massive amount of stuff to do plus full-time job is makes it tricky because they take prep work. I don't have all the information in my head. I have to, every time I do a game, I have to prep. I have to learn the rules. There's all sorts of things I have to do. And the same would be true of any army showcase video. So I'd be using time that I currently have for filming battle reports to do showcases. And I think more people want to see battle reports than showcases. It's something I absolutely want to do in future. And when I get more time, I will totally be doing those, but not at the moment. Golden Halos chapter does, I'm afraid, sound like a breakfast cereal. I agree. Right, I'm going back down to the bottom now, see what I've missed in the chat. What's your least favorite army to face on the tabletop? We're going back a little bit now, and I haven't fought them for ages. And it's purely a psychological thing. I always feel like I've already lost every time I line up against Tau. And that's because they this is probably going back to sort of 4th, 5th ed. They outshoot every army, but if you charge them, they'll outshoot you if you charge them. So you're dead twice over. Whatever you do, you're dead. To beat them, I find you have to play heavily shooty armies that will just outshoot them. I'm caveating this with the fact I haven't played against them for a very, very, very long time. So we are going back quite a way in time. I think I would need to play against them more recently to I've forgotten how to finish that sentence, so I'm just going to move on to something else. Sorry. How have I been coping with lockdown? Lockdown has been tricky. And I've had to shield not because of myself, but because of other people in my bubble who were shielded. They aren't now, but they were. So even when things opened up a bit earlier in the middle of last year, I wasn't able to do very much. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to see my bubble. YouTube has helped a lot, and 40k has helped a lot because it's given me something to focus on in my spare time rather than just sitting in a darkened room feeling quite unhappy. So yeah, 40k and YouTube has really helped me get through lockdown with my sanity intact. Interacting with all you guys, getting your feedback on my videos, seeing that you like what I do has just been absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. So yeah, you guys have all really helped. What faction would I like to see brought into 9th edition? Specifically 9th edition. I imagine you mean what faction or factions would I like to see brought into 40k? Because I can't limit it to just one, because that's crazy. I think there are 3 factions that are present in a lot of lore, some of them in more lore than others. I think there are a number of factions that are present in a lot of the lore that are absent on the tabletop, and you really, really can't represent them in any meaningful way as it stands. And they are, in no particular order, Eldar Exodites. They aren't used hugely in the lore, but they are a significant part of the Eldar lore that aren't represented. Dark Mechanicus, because they are totally all over the lore. There's thousands of them resulting from the Horus Heresy and other people who've since turned. So I want to be able to do Dark Mechanicus. Imagine looking at the crazy stuff the Adeptus Mechanicus come out with. Imagine what the Dark Mechanicum's been doing for 10 years by adding some demon into the mix and sprinkling it with heresy. But I think the biggest gap in the lore are cults. Sometimes they'll be Xenos cults, but mainly they're going to be Chaos cults. In so many of the narrative stories, the things that summon the demons are the Chaos cultists. The things that, I mean, look at the Sabbat Crusade. You barely even get a sniff of a Chaos Space Marine in the entire Crusade. It's all Chaos cults. It's a system where there's been an insidious Chaos uprising that's wormed its way into the population. And it's guard the Chaos cults. And you just can't do that on the tabletop with the current army selection. So if I had to pick one, it would be Chaos cults. And they could do it, right? They could do a single Chaos cult book. They could do a sprue with different pieces for the different types of cults. Could all be interchangeable. You can mix and match with various guard units. You could do sprues to upgrade various tanks. Back in the day, the Lost and the Damned had elements from guard, marines, demons, all sorts, for a menagerie of just chaos filth. Yeah, mutants, beastmen, all that good stuff. I want to see all that. All the abhumans. Yeah. 1 minute. Carrying on. Oh, can you hear a bee? Oh, it's buzzing at the gap in the window. Window's got a tiny little crack in it because it's set to be open with a tiny little gap. It's not like smashed. I don't want to paint any more leather straps on these orcs. Bang. Whoops. No. Intentional. The light from the window is washing out my laptop. I have to dust my screen. 1 moment. Ha! I can see now. Okay. Where is Lemmy? So Lemmy is asleep on top of a pile of boxes in that room. I can hear her snoring. There's a box of empty Blackstone Fortress boxes and the 8th box set box that she has claimed as her own. That's her little tower. Yes, that's where she is. And everyone is safe. Am I planning, once lockdowns have ended and everyone is safe, on members coming up to play? Planning, no. Maybe, yes. Solo Hammer's really working for me now. It's very easy to do narrative with Solo Hammer because I build both the armies so I can do things that I think are appropriate to the scenario, and I can do army composition so that even if one codex, like Space Marines, is massively higher power than the other codex, Chaos Marines, I can make the lists feel like they're kind of balanced. I can also, if something isn't quite working during the game, I can decide, not doing that, and do this instead, because this helps the story play, which is what I'm here to do. I'm playing a story. My primary rule, do what makes narrative common sense. So I get a lot of control over it doing Solo Hammer, and that helps the stories be so narrative. In the one game I did against a person, that was much harder because I can't plan my army. Both armies are planned by individuals, not knowing what the others have got. The decisions we make mid-game come from two different brains, and they are from the point of view of winning the game, which is something I do in Solo Hammer. I do try and win from both sides, but I also consider other factors at the same time, which just isn't possible to do and balance easily when you are... I can't look at that and go, no, don't move that unit that way. It makes more sense than to go over there. And the guy will look up and go, but that means the other side might win. They might, but that's the thing. That's what they do. Well, I disagree. Well. So, there's... that's what it is. And we're trying to work out. It's a lamp. So the narrative gaming is easier to do Solo Hammer. I don't know how I'm going to work that. I also have a schedule to keep with my work and with my Solo Hammer. And I don't know how I'm going to weave in the real world playing against an actual person things, because I think they will be... Or one moment. I can't pause live stuff, but my nose is running, so you'll have to bear with me. Low production values. You all know this. Dearie me. So I absolutely want to play lots of games with lots and lots and lots of wonderful people. I just have no idea how I'm going to make that work yet. So it's not a plan. It's kind of a hope that I'll be able to do that. When did you know that you're awesome? Discuss at length, please. When did I know that I'm awesome? When I was live, this isn't me knowing I'm awesome, but when I was live role playing, we did an unholy quad, which was 4 of us playing evil priestly type characters doing a special mission to find our unholy temple to set up shop there. And I was an evil priest, but I wanted to also be an evil necromancer. And the way the rules in the game worked, it was going to... Whilst it improved my narrative aspirations, it really harshed on my stats because it would make me immune to my own healing. And I remember one of the guys who was with me, who was very much a power player, just creasing over with hysterics afterwards when he realized I'd spent like 40 quid and 3 hours doing a really hard mission that I lost loads of stuff for to make my stats worse. And I'm like, yeah, man, but necromancer now. Woo! Boom! Zombie. And I remember doing one of my things after. We call them battle boards, where you go through how many times you'd been hit and what damage you'd taken, and the referee would tell you, tot it all up and tell you how you were feeling. Instead, right, so I took 3 blows to this arm, 2 blows to that arm, and I was like, right, okay, you're gonna have to follow me here. So I'm gonna take 1 healing potion, which would normally do 6 life points to me, but I'm a dwarf, so it's actually doing 9. But it's half because I'm half healing, and then half again because I'm half effect from spirit, blah, 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 blah. 1 life point. And everyone would just cracks up, and I went through the entire fight, and I'm like, yeah, I'm totally screwing myself with this. That's when I really knew I had my own particular style, which was I don't care about the stats. I care about the rule of cool, because that was absolutely awesome, and I loved every minute of it. And that's the extent to which I'm going to refer to myself as awesome, because that's not, it's just not English, okay? Let's just pretend this is tea. Need some tiffin. Oh, I'm not keeping up with the scrolling. You're all typing way faster than I can scroll. I hope. I haven't got anyone moderating. I hope everyone's being cool. Which areas of the hobby dominate your time? Painting. My narrative for me isn't necessarily about having a character with a cool backstory and a cool arc. For me, narrative play is around building an army that acts like an army should in the narrative. So I tend not to write big, extensive backstories for my characters. I tend not even to name them. I tend just to refer to the captain, the chaplain, the this, the that, the other, and use them in combinations that I see that they would use. So when I play an army and go, yeah, it will be this. So, for example, when I eventually play Tau, be okay, need a hunter cadre. Right, so I need a battlesuit commander. I need crisis suits. I need 3, what is it in hunter command? 3 fire warrior teams, each of the devilfish. I need hammerheads, sniper team, and broadsides. I need a crisis team. I need pathfinders. I need piranhas. I need crew. There we go. That's my army, because that's a hunter cadre. I don't tend to go, I want this cool character, and I want his background to be this and background to be that, which is why I spend most of my time on painting. Because if I want to do narrative for an army, it's not, here's the cool character, here's his backstory. For me, that's more tabletop roleplay. For me, it's like, right, I want a hunter cadre. I need to buy 40 boxes of stuff and then build them and then paint them. Okay, let's do. Case in point, Necros. I'm taking a real risk moving the camera about, I tell you. Okay, not screwed it. What are my favorite and least favorite Loyalist Space Marine chapters? Sorry, I just looked at another thing. The question, I think the question below is, did I comb my beard? But what you've actually written, Pete, is, did I comb my beard? Which is possibly something different. I do comb my beard. I have a beard comb. It's also, for some reason, it gets untidier throughout the course of the day. And because this is 1 in the afternoon, or now 2 in the afternoon, it's closer to the shower than it is in the evening, if that makes sense. It goes a bit of an evening. But one of my favorite and least favorite Loyalist Space Marine chapters. Favorite, Blood Angels. I love my Blood Angels. I always have, and I always will. Iron Hands I love because they're just so messed up. They really are. It's like the constant war between emotion, not emotion, failures of the past, and the contradiction of replacing the flesh with machine. 2 that I think are interesting, and they're kind of the reasons why I don't play them. Well, okay, so I also like Space Wolves, because the Space Wolves are divergent, and they feel really different, and they are different. They're great companies, and they never conform to the codex. And there are a number of other armies that feel like they should never have conformed to the Codex because it takes away a lot of what they're meant to be. So if in the lore, right, Dark Angels, it's all about knightly virtue and swords and armor and robes and shields and how dueling. And I realize I am mercilessly simplifying it, but I would want Dark Angels to feel like a different army. I would want to be able to field units of Dark Angels sword and board. I wish a lot. Ultramarines are the template, and more than 50% of all the other chapters out there are also Ultramarines. They're the template. I would like to see the Dark Angels and the White Scars being much more divergent. The White Scars are all sort of spiritual, the wind, moving fast, but yet they still structure around 100 Marines in a company, 60 of the Marines on foot, 20 of them with big guns, 20 of them moving fast. Okay, they've probably got bikes. I'd much rather see some kind of clan-based system where they're all on bikes and speeders and stuff. And I know you can, or at least you could take bikes as troops. I don't think you can now with White Scars. I don't know. But I'd far rather they sort of leaned into it and said, yeah, these are divergent. This is how they organize. These are their troops. This is how, they can use this other stuff, but they really don't very often. Same with Dark Angels. You've got Black Templars are nice and divergent. They've got stuff like that. So Space Wolves. I really want to see my Iron Hands being divergent again. This nonsense about the clan companies. This clan is the first company, that clan is the 10th company, and they all mix up together. No, if you read the lore, at least the stuff that hasn't been retconned recently, they're basically 10 different chapters with their own armories. And I'd lean into that. I'd lean into these different armies being divergent. You have to use different models for them. It's just different ways of picking and playing. I know one of my colleagues from work, one of my channel members, is doing a White Scars successor chapter, which is really cool, but it's mostly Marines on foot. And what puts me off White Scars is it would still have to be Marines on foot, and that would be the contradiction. It wouldn't feel like that different an army. That's what's randomly spewed out of my head. Okay, admit it, you thought it had crashed then, didn't you? Squats, yes, of course. I want to see the squats back. Space Elf Bears? I don't know what that means. Yeah, I'd like to see a proper Dark Angel Fallen Codex. I'd like them to lean into that and say, yeah, okay, Dark Angels, there's a Traitor Legion and a Loyal Chapter. Have at it. Do I remember the first 40k model that I bought was bought for me? Yeah, it was a second ed box set. And that my dad bought for me after we found a Games Workshop on a day out into Manchester. And with it, because back in the day they didn't have generals in the boxes, he bought me a Space Marine general and an Orc War boss. Amazing, amazing stuff. Does anyone else want Paul to put the hat on in the back? Oh, all right. Okay. We've had three hat requests. That's the magic number. Well, today it is. It won't be tomorrow. What? Would you like to see more Primarchs? Yep. I'd love to see more Primarchs. I'd love to see loads more Primarchs. I'd love to see GW mixing the universe up and it all becoming really fractious. Ooh, needs a bit of a clean. Some specks of dust on it. My fedora is dusty. Yeah, so I'd like to see the Lion come back, and alongside it, a restructure of the Dark Angels, and him not go along with Gilliman's plans, and then they become fractious factions within the Imperium, and you can have the same with any of them coming back. I would love a lot of that. Mr. Nub retracted his reaction, his message. I wonder what Mr. Nub said. Lots of pictures of Lemmy on here now. The members can use the Lemmy GIF. It's not a GIF. The Lemmy thing, whatever it is. What are my opinions about the Horus Heresy and Seventh in general? Seventh Ed in general, I really liked. Because in my circle, we didn't use formations to be really powerful and unbalance the game. We used formations to represent how the army should play on the tabletop. So my Word Bearers army is built around Seventh Ed formations. You know, massive tides of spawn, hordes of cultists, packs of demon engines with warp smiths leading them, chaos lords with marines and terminators and stuff. Loved it. It was a decent game mechanic with Seventh. With Eighth coming along, the not simplicity of Eighth, but the streamlined nature of the rules, where a lot more was abstracted and you could just account for the narrative in your head as you play the game rather than it being spelled out. Because the more you try and constrain a rule set, the more you sort of poke a bit here to try and fix that thing and something else shoots out over there. And there were lots of oddities with Seventh Ed that were, I'll say exploitable, but what I really mean is could be used to manipulate rules for advantage rather than for playing out a scenario, which in competitive circles, that's fine. But it meant there was a lot of that, and that was quite prevalent in pickup games, and the power was really heavily focused towards one faction, so they saw a lot of victory with very powerful combinations. I didn't think that was good for the game. The abstracting of it all in 8th Ed, once you abstract part of it, the more you abstract, the better. I'll say the better. It's a difficult thing, isn't it? I mean, I still think 9th Ed is nice and abstract. Everyone watching this probably knows there are some rules that I'm not keen on, that are the reasons why I have house rules. The thing that grinds my gears about 9th Ed is the way they write the codices. You may replace one of this and that and the other for a model that doesn't have this chainsword. Well, I've just looked at the thing and it doesn't have a chainsword. Oh, look, 5 options down. It can take a chainsword if it swaps it for its slippers. Right, if it swapped it for its slippers and it's got this chainsword, I can now swap it for a power fist if it doesn't have a power fist. Well, where on earth is the power fist coming in? Gee whiz, why are they doing this to me? So here are a list of options for the model. Don't take the mickey. Or if you're playing against someone who is clearly abusing this, just say, no thanks, and play against someone else. Or if you're someone who uses these kind of linguistic combinations to your advantage, fine, but play against other people who do the same. Fine. Don't make books that make no damn sense to me, because all I want to do is put a plasma pistol on a sergeant. think I'm okay now. More caffeine. Ah. Or am I going to put the hat without getting up? What do you reckon? Can I get the hat on the door in one throw? I cannot. Now I have to go and get the hat. Oh. I'm coming. I'm back. Rolled a 1 on that throw. No, it wasn't a 1. If it was a 1, it would have gone in the cat list that's just round the corner. It was a 2. Right. What would you say is the biggest threat to humanity in 40k? Ooh. Well, it's meant to be Tyranids. It's meant to have been Tyranids for quite a while. But then, now it's Necrons. It's certainly not Eldar of any stripe. I don't count Chaos as being a threat to humanity because Chaos are humanity. If you meant threat to the Imperium, different matter. But threat to humanity, Chaos is humanity. Kinda. Biggest threat. The Tau won't try and destroy humans. They'll try and take them over, but they won't try and destroy them. Orcs would get fed up if they wiped everyone out. They wouldn't be organised enough to wipe humanity out. Necrons or Tyranids? It's a coin flip. That wasn't one of the options. I'm old enough to recognise the crow on the shelf. Yes, but what is his actual name? That's right, it's Eric Draven. How excited are you for the old world coming out? I'm looking forward to the old world coming out. What? I don't know. I mean, kind of what I want is just a more updated version of the last version of Fantasy that I can use my fantasy models with. But they won't do that because they want to sell new models, which is why they flipped to Sigmar in the first instance, because they wanted the sales were stagnating. So they won't just give us a scenario where we don't have to buy more models. And that makes me sad because I probably won't want to buy armies of Forge World only models again. Maybe. Don't know. I'd love some proper Chaos Dwarves, though. I used to love my Chaos Dwarves. Which codices do you think will want personally to be updated in the near future? Ooh. I've got to say Chaos Marines because the book feels so old. First book out in 8th edition. And yes, they've done a few tweaks and a few updates to it, but it's for a few specific units, and it only gives a few specific builds that actually work. A few playable builds and a few narrative builds as well. If you're not doing demons, screwed. The only reason they've played reasonably well in my games is because I've been house ruling them. So yeah, Chaos is what I'd want. Is it lore possible for Grey Knights to get Primaris? Yeah, it's lore possible. I mean, they're basically just humans who have psionic capability who are marinified. I mean, I'm simplifying it a lot, but what's more likely to determine the lore is what they want to do with the models. And I suspect the basic Primaris kits don't Grey Knightify very well. So G-Dubs will have to decide whether they want to produce new Primaris Grey Knight models or make Grey Knights totally their own thing and produce new models, because they will have to. Or they'll just keep them as their own thing and keep the existing model line and just churn out a book, in which case I don't think they'll see any Primaris in the near future. All depends what's going to drive their profit and loss in the short term, which obviously none of us have the insight into. Yeah, it makes me sad having Grey Knights on 1 wound and Terminators on 2 wounds. If you crunch numbers in the Space Marine Codex, units that started on 1 wound went up by 3 points, and models that started on more than 1 wound went up by 5 points. So if you have people who are willing to play games with you on that basis, you pay an extra 3 points for every 1 wound Marine and an extra 5 points for every multi-wound Marine. Then you're golden. If you have people who are willing to play against you like that. Depends if you've got a narrative circle around you or not, I guess. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I did mean the character. Yeah, Brandon Lee, obviously. Back to my man, the Crow, Eric Draven, played by Brandon Lee. Of course, he wasn't all played by Brandon Lee. There are a couple of scenes where he was played by someone else, but you didn't see his face. But that was after he died during the filming. What's the biggest, most expensive thing you bought from Forge World aside from the Scout Titan? I didn't buy the Scout Titan. The Scout Titan was a present. It was a 30th birthday present from my friend, who was absolutely freaking awesome. The biggest thing besides that, I think it's one of... No, that was a present, and that was a present. Oh, it'll be my Eldos Scorpion. Boom, death. What stomper? How do I feel about Age of Sigmar? I wasn't too hot on it because they did Warhammer Fantasy Battle a little dirty, but the new models are so good. They're actually sort of making me lore interesting now. I looked at it at first. I'm like, okay, this is the new Fantasy Battle. And the rules set originally said there were no points values in it. And it was just the way you work out how big a game is you count up the number of models you've got. What? So my 40 Skaven slaves here are the same equivalent to those 40 swordsmen of Heath. Yeah. No. You can shove right off with that. No. And I remember having a conversation with staff in a GW store, and you could tell he did not believe what he was saying, but he had been given a company line to follow. And that really turned me off to it. And by the time they'd rode back on that decision, I was already turned off to it. Ironically, if I played Age of Sigmar before 8th Ed, I might be interested in Age of Sigmar. But because Age of Sigmar is simpler than 40k, it feels like a backward step to me going to it. But the big thing is I tried to get into some of the lore, and I got a couple of books to listen to, and I just could not work out what the hell was going on. I obviously could follow the story, but I couldn't understand some fundamental truths in the backstory. And I couldn't find information online. I couldn't find it in the Age of Sigmar book, which I now have, or in the army books. It couldn't tell me what these things actually were. and why the wars are happening and between whom and what the consequences of them would be. And I find that very difficult to structure a narrative around. I can't nail a narrative to it. So I'd like to be able to do that. I know Mikey P from Deployment Zone is working on a Tree Man army at the moment. And I said to him, oh, yes, when all this is over, I've got 1,000 points of Gloomspite Gits that I painted during Lockdown 1. We've got to get together and learn Fantasy Battle together. And he was like, oh, yes, let's do that. Because I also got a terrain set that I painted during Lockdown 1. So we are totally going to do that. So I will do Age of Sigmar. How big a thing it becomes, I don't know. But I did enjoy painting the Night Goblins. I was like, right, I want some spiders now. I want more. But I'm like that with every army. My mate Pure Tide used to say, it just depends what book you've been reading. That's the only thing it depends on. And it's true. It's true. Because I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'm totally doing that. And then a load of boxes turn up. Right, where was I? Oh, it's doing weird stuff. Hang on. Oh, it's jumping about the place. Hello to people who've said hi. So, okay. So there's a question here about, do I think Magnus and Red was justified in what he was doing when he accidentally ruined the Webway project? Ruined being the operative word. And was the Emperor wrong for not telling the Primarchs what he was doing? The thing is, right, is because that was all written retrospectively to fill in history, it can be very difficult to write things that make a lot of sense. It's the same with Star Wars. If you watch the original trilogy, then watch the sequel, the prequels, and all the Clone Wars stuff and all Rebels and all that, it's really good stuff. I really like it these days. I never used to, but I really like it now. There are so many points where you go, just no, obviously do that. And it's the same with this. It's like Emperor. Now, obviously, you tell them all how dangerous the warp is, and you make sure they go nowhere near it. And you get them to keep an eye on each other. And you have like inquisitory type people who keep an eye on the Primarchs, keep an eye on this, and keep an eye on that. Yeah, good, done, sold. But if you're writing that in as prequel, you can't do that. You know things have got to go hideously wrong at a point, and it is incredibly difficult to write story that goes wrong when everyone looks at it and goes, yeah, that's what I'd have done at the time and all. The Emperor has to be on the golden throne, so someone had to do something to put him on the golden throne, and Magnus drew the short straw. So with prequel law, I find it very difficult to be critical of it because there's a certain mold it has to fit to. And I know that's not... Was Magnus justified? In his mind, he was entirely justified. But it all depends on individuals' point of view. The Emperor either has intended to what happens to come about, in which case, yeah, he did the right thing, or he thought there was a far greater risk if he told them about the warp that things would go hideously wrong. I don't think anyone has... very few people have done things in these stories that they knew were wrong at the point, but they looked right based on what they knew there and then only they looked wrong with the benefit of hindsight. You can't ask for much more than that. You can ask. You won't get it. Right, what else? Yeah, Grey Knight's the only ones that get referred to as a militant chapter chamber, which is a shame. I liked the way I loved my Witch Hunters Codex because you could have so many, it was so eclectic, so many different bits and bobs in there. And Grey Knights with Terminators, and then Ordo Xenos Inquisitors with Death Watch. I used to really like that. Boo. Hopefully Ynnari will become a big threat on the stage. My next campaign for channel members. Well, part of it's going to be for channel members, part of it maybe not. The next campaign that I've been building for recently is Ynnari, Emperor's Children, Iron Hands, all based around a maiden world. So I've been painting Eldar terrain, a bit more terrain still to do. Got new battle maps, and I'm filming the first episode on Monday. I think it's going to be three chapters. Each one's going to be 3 games. The first chapter is going to be a members one. I don't know about the next chapters, but I'm going to do a little intro video for it with some narrative again, some story time stuff. I've got notes in my pad, and I'm going to be doing that as well. I'm even going to experiment with trying to put music on a video. Yeah, with editing being done on a computer rather than on my phone. How radical is that? So yeah, look, I like Ynnari. I like them very much. Oh, hang on, it's jumping around. Apologies where I miss questions because it's going crazy on my screen. When I'm trying to scroll around, it's doing weird things. I hope the Harlequins have new stuff. What I would love to see the Harlequins have is I would love them to have, and if anyone from GW is watching, do this. I'd love them to have sort of marionette style automata. So sort of on either like psychic strings. So you could do like a dreadnoughty type size one and like a medium type size one that are controlled by a dude in the back with little puppet type string things. Because it's all the Harlequin stuff is stories and plays and actors. And I just love the idea that there's a props dude that does stuff. It's like the marionettes, you can change the image on them and you can use them as antagonists and stuff. I'd love that. I would freaking love that. Yeah. Sorry, back in the room. Oh, right, okay. Really feasible? What's feasible? Use Marine Scout bikes with guard heads. Yeah, that'd work for Rough Riders. Are we talking about Rough Riders? Can't keep up. I must admit, I don't know very much about the Exorcist chapter. You're into a problem. I don't want shared loyalties because the Inquisition keeps them in a tight lock. So no tech Marines for me. Yeah, okay. So you could maybe do a small AdMech detachment to go with them with tech priests, tech priest engine seers. Can they fix marine vehicles? No, they probably can't. From a narrative point of view, you need someone to maintain all the equipment. Maybe they can be like the. I'm thinking the Death Watch have tech marines, but now the Death Watch aren't officially Inquisition. I don't know. I'm sure you could do something there. with the tech marines, lack of tech marines. I don't know enough about the Exorcist. I'm sorry. I have to look into those. Sorry, well, narrative fail there. Sorry. What's your opinion on the Exorcist being classified as an Imperial Fist successor chapter? I don't know anything about that. Right, hang on. Googling. One moment, caller. Okay, what's the question? What's my opinion of it being classified as an Imperial Fist successor chapter? Okay, I didn't get anything from that suggested they shouldn't be. Every chapter has got gene seed from somewhere, which means they are a successor of one of the chapters. If they're Imperial Fists, they're Imperial Fists. But just because they have a gene seed from a particular chapter doesn't mean they have to follow the doctrines of that chapter. They can be totally and entirely divergent. They may have no association with them. They may not be a successor chapter as such. It would just be a divergent chapter. That's my opinion, as hazy as it is after 30 seconds of Googling. Hello in Germany. Tracer Primarchs being revealed. What have I missed? What have I missed? I've obviously missed something. It didn't say Iron Hands, did it? Iron Warriors. Yeah, I don't know. Do I think any of the Tracer Primarchs could be redeemed? It depends what you mean by redeemed. In the galaxy, is there the scope for things to change sides? Well, not if the Lords of Terror and the Inquisition have any say over it, but Gilliman would have say over it now, so that's maybe a different thing. Do I think all the Traitor Primarchs are irredeemable? No, not necessarily. I mean, the ones who've turned into demons, kind of yes, because they're made from the raw stuff of chaos now, and they're never going to change their view on things. But you might get the likes of, well, the nice ones is dead. So, meh. One of Alpharius and one of the Alpharius twins are dead. Maybe Alpharius could be redeemed because he went into it wanting to do the Emperor's work. Maybe Alpharius. Oh, right, what are we going? It's jumping about the place a bit now. What do I think they're going to do with the Cypher background in the future? Or is he going to simply run around like now forever? They will periodically do things with him in to try and stimulate sales of the model. That's what I think. I don't. If it's hard to tell with GW because they do a lot of stuff to stimulate sales, and it all depends what they think they can. It's all about investment versus reward. If they can spend 50,000 developing this thing and they're going to earn 2 million from it, and they've got another thing where they have to spend 5,000 and they'll earn 10,000 from it, they're not going to do that one because the risk versus the investment versus reward is just not low enough. It's too low. So they'll do whatever they think is going to give them the best return. Now, I'm sure they come up with all sorts of ideas and all sorts of proposals, and they're put forward and they're costed and they're discussed. It's tricky to know whether they can do anything with Cypher that's going to stack up cost-wise against other things. I imagine not. I think he'll appear in periodic stories. That's why I don't think we'll get a Fallen Dark Angel Codex, because the investment, the amount they'd have to spend so much more on new model kits, the investment costs higher. There's something else where they just have to do like one dude. So tricky, not sure. Am I keen on the beast snargers? Well, yes and no. I think they're very interesting. I think what they're, from watching the little video, I think what they're doing is making them like speed freaks. Because back in the day, speed freaks were evil sons. They were evil son speed freaks. But now speed freaks are a thing that any clan can have, because of the way they now do the clan. Your clan is your army rather than just you've got a whole load of orcs and they're all a little bit different and they all band together. So you've got a chocolate box. To coin a winterism. So from the video, it said any clan we is in, we is the best. So it's like, okay, so these guys aren't going to be snake bites only. They're going to be like speed freaks, where there'll be snargers that have the snarger thing keyword, and there'll be something rules that apply to all of them, but they will probably synergize very well with snake bites. It'll say something like nearly every snake bite clan includes snargers or something like that. So you could put them in any clan, but yeah, for me, they'll be snake bites, and they're kind of like hog riders, and they look all right. The only thing I was a little bit hesitant with is some of the legs looked mechanized on some of the things that they're riding. I hope that's an option within the kit, so I don't have to put tech in my snakebite squigs. There's also in the picture, not in the model, but in the artwork, there was a tank being pulled by a giant squig with a guy on it with a big gun. I'm curious to see what that is. And I'm hoping that doesn't feel too tech-oriented to put in my snakebite army. But things that are still a little bit tech-oriented, but not very, you can just paint very rusty, and they feel more snakebitey. So, yeah, I'm hopeful. I'm looking forward. I've also got other things for my snakebites. I've got a squig off on my shelves and some other bits and bobs. So, yeah, when those snargers come out, it might spur me on to get my snake bites up to 1,000 points ish. So yeah, looking forward to that. What do I think of my stance on the Horus Heresy books in generals? Definitely agree they are great books. I hate the series for the demystification of the past. Yeah, I get that. The problem is, the game is set in a static point of time, and that's because of the games. and the models that they sell for the games. Whilst they've tried to move the story on a little bit, fundamentally, the game we play today is the game we played 20 years ago, 15 years ago, give or take. And they'll never do anything too drastic to change that because they don't want to lose the business. The only playground they really have for doing things that are pretty radical is in the past. So I don't think you could have one without the other. I also find it helps me look at my narrative for those armies, because the trace of the legions, they've all kind of, whilst there's some of them they've got a bit chaosified, they've pretty much been stuck in a bubble in time. So I can read those books, and that helps me then build my armies for my chaos legions. So I get the issue with the demystification of the past, but for me, it's a price I'm willing to pay. Okay. So the Exorcists were previously a Grey Knight successor chapter, though. Okay, so they will be retconning that then to make that not a thing. They'll probably say the Grey Knights have no successors, and they'll make them totally different, and that's why they've retconned that to be someone else. That'll be a business-based decision. Elliot is asking, does this live stream mean there's going to be no bat rep this week? Yes, it does, Elliot, I'm afraid. However, next week, I have filmed this already, is the finale for Fulminators versus Night Lords. Oh, yes, it is. It's a 3-hour one, so, get comfy and be ready for it. I wanted to do something over the Easter weekend because I thought, there might be some of you guys who are isolating. It's something a little bit different to do, a bit sort of, it's a little bit special to do at Easter. So I thought I'd switch them around. It's not a gap, it's a swap. Oh, what's it doing now? Do you feel like any army in Ninth Ed has been straying too far from the narrative based on how they play mechanically on the tabletop? Yeah, most of them. It depends how you play them on the tabletop. And it depends in which circles we're talking about. One of the things with Ninth Ed that they've clearly tried to do is GW wants to play. They want to cater towards the competitive crowd, but they want people to play narratively. So they've got a competitive rule set, but then narrative-leaning rules to make you play in a certain way. So, for example, in the Death God Codex, there's a rule that says Servants of the Legion or something like that. And I couldn't find this blooming thing. It's like, you can't have more Servants of the Legion units than you've got Plague Marine units. Oh, right, what is this? Look, it turns out to be Poxwalkers and Cultists. And there's like 2 rules in there that basically say you can't have more Poxwalkers than you've got Plague Marines, and you can't have more Cultists than you've got Plague Marines, which is basically, don't take these as your compulsory troops and then take all the other toys because these are cheaper. They want your Death Guard army to be full of Plague Marines and then these other things to be an extra. So they want you to play they want to go towards the competitive scene, but they want you to play more narratively. But obviously the codices that haven't been, in the same way as removing scouts from Space Marines as troops. They don't want to see 15 scouts in a battalion just being thrown away as meat shields here and there. They want them to be elite. Now, if you take scouts in a Space Marine army, you've got a reason for taking them. You want them to grab objectives. You want them to do sniping from the back. There's something specific you want them to do. Because you're taking them as an elite, you're not taking them as a troop. So I want your Marine army to have a core of Marines in it. So the books that they haven't refreshed yet won't have that, obviously, but that's definitely the way I think they're leaning. So, but it all depends on how you choose to play. The most competitive players who don't have an interest in the narrative will always pick the strongest options. They'll also, if okay, I have to take Plague Marines, right? 3 units of 5, no kit, done, and I'll just treat them as attacks. Now I will take all stuff I want to take. So however they cut it, you are, unless you start to be really prescriptive about a Death Guard army has 1 of these and 1 of these and 3 of those and 2 of those, and these must be 10 man and these must be 2 man, and in which case you've already got your 1,000 points army, and that's what's minimum. They're never going to go down that route. So it's always going to be about who you're playing with and how they view stuff. In my opinion, there should be 2 types of 40k, competitive and super fluffy. I think there should be 3. I think there should be competitive, super fluffy, and pick up. So I could randomly meet one of you guys in Warhammer World, and we just want to we want to chill out, throw some dice, and have a laugh. And we could play a game where it's going to be reasonably well matched, but not competitive, extreme, and not narrative AF. You know, there's all sorts of things I'd want to do in a narrative AF world, and I am cool with doing those because it's playing out story. If I'm meeting someone randomly for a fun game for the first time, is it fun if it happens to represent the 3rd chapter in my series that says, actually, what's happening right now is your orcs are getting screwed. Daka, 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 daka. That's not fun. So, yeah, I see a need for a 3rd thing. And I could lament about this for so long. The fact that they baked all the competitive rules into the core rule set, I think, is a real crying shame. They could so easily have done variants. They could even have produced 3 sets of the rules. You know, if they want, we want it to be all in one place and complete. Right, okay. Do 3 copies then. Where all the common stuff's the same and the uncommon stuff just has a different paragraph. And you can put a little thing around it that says, this is different from open play. But actually, when you buy the book, you get 3 booklets with the core rules in them. So if you're narrative playing, here's your quick, easy lookup for all your narrative play stuff. Whoop! Hey! But yeah, the competitive people want to be massively competitive. Freaking let them. Crack on. Have fun. Enjoy. The narrative people want to be super fluffy. And there are people in the middle who just want to have a game and want it to be, yeah, fairly even, but also be cool. If I was God Emperor of the Universe, do you have Death Guard or plan to get Death Guard? I am actually filming my first report with my new Death Guard army later today after this live stream. 500 points. Death Guard versus Fallen Dark Angels. Yeah. That's going to be a members battle report. I should probably do the capitalist thing for a minute. Okay. Brief break for capitalism. I can see the numbers about to drop. Oh, yeah, they're going down quite a bit. I joke. Back up again. Hooray. Capitalism for the win. So, for those of you who are watching this who aren't channel members, I've got a couple of new things in the channel area. I've changed things a little bit. I've got two membership levels. One is for the monthly live streams. This that I'm doing now, I do this once a month for channel members. That's the level 1, $1.99 UK price for that. And level 2, $5.99 UK price, is the battle report every week. Now I've tweaked that slightly and I've changed it to most weeks on the basis that sometimes it's just a little bit tough to do one every week because I'm trying to do a full-time job and all the battle reports. So what I have done, wait for it, drum roll, for the $5.99 people, I've also introduced a Discord server. which now a lot of the channels charge extra for their Discord server. Not me. No. What I want a really cool place for everyone to hang out, chat narrative, talk rubbish, support each other, share pictures, give tips, and just generally prattle for anyone who wants to. So that's kind of a trade-off for me. It's like, okay, it was before a battle report absolutely every week. Now it's a battle report most weeks, but also the free Discord server. Well, it's not free, it's part of the price, but it's a Discord server plus battle report most weeks, which I'm now referring to as exclusive content, which may have some things that may or may not be battle reports, but for the most part, it's going to be battle reports. Oh, hang on, my nose is doing the thing again, and I can't pause the video. So yeah, we've got, and I've got this on my other screen, we had about, on day one, we had about 50 people join up. We've got in there at the moment 44 and 10 and 56. Yeah, so we've got some really cool stuff going on in there. And it's nice and quiet. I say quiet. It's busy, but we've got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got 6 threads in there at the moment. One of the things that we did was say we start small, and what people want, we'll kind of expand to, but we want to keep it sort of homely. As much as I love the Deployment Zone Discord, there's like 200 threads in there, and I find it really difficult to sort of meet anyone or get any vibes from it. This feels super cozy. We've got like the members lounge, which is general chat, hobby stuff, the obligatory pet picks. There's a homebrew lore where people have been chatting about their homemade chapters and characters and armies, and that's really cool. A thread where you can put all your suggestions for live stream topics for me, which I've got on this screen here in case I ran out of things to say. Man, did I not run out of things to say. Except now when I just said that. Quick drink whilst I think. So yeah, and people are already talking about, oh man, we should get together when things go back to normal. Oh yeah, that'd be really cool. Does anyone do online gaming? Should we have a game of such and such? Yeah, man, let's do it. So it's really cool. It's got a really nice community, chilled, close-knit vibe going for it. So yeah, so that's the level 2 membership. Now get you my weekly battle reports, which are most weeks, and a Discord server for the win. Advert over. Level 1 gets you more of this. If this is your jam, I do this every week for the level, every month for the level 1 members. But I may start doing more of these. I don't know. Because one of the things I'm doing at the moment, which I'm sure some of you may, well, I'm sure some of you may be interested in knowing about, is obviously I've talked in some of my vlogs and things that I want to try and do this full time. And obviously, you know, that's no mean feat. I've got an IT consultancy job and I need to get this up to the same sort of size before I can swap over. So that's, it's a long-term plan, but obviously I need to feel out how it goes with the YouTube and the memberships and do what people want. And also have to give a bit of a view to what works and what people are interested in and what people are willing to subscribe for. So I tweak things as I go, and I need to have a balance between putting stuff on regular YouTubes for everyone to see, because that's how I get members. And then, but also I've got to have all the stuff for the members to have. So that's where I'm doing a bit of a balancing act. And often I'll chat about how that's going and what people's feedback and so on, and what's working and what's not. And I'm constantly tweaking things. So I may start doing some more stuff like this on public YouTubes, and I may not. I'm planning on... Woohoo! Someone just upgraded! Wow! Toxic Hobbit UK, hello! Welcome to the team! Sorry, I got really excited for that. So I'm tweaking what I do all the time, and in the hope that in the hope that I can make it work and I can continue to grow. I've started doing little hobby vlogs now. You guys may have noticed this. Rather than saving it all up for the weekends, I've sort of gone, right, I've done some Death Guard. Here's the Death Guard. Look at my Death Guard. Yeah, that's fun. My plan is to start a new series called Say Hi Paul Rambles about ... I had intended to film a couple of those this week for the week off, but it's all got away from me, and I'm really hoping I am going to have time to do it. I'm a little, because I want to talk about, I've got two in mind. I want to talk about Necrons, screws, and I want to talk about Drukhari. And I want to sort of say, right, I've got this book, and I'm looking through it. I'm trying to work out how to do X, Y, and Z. But I have this sort of thing where I'm thinking, I want it to be perfect. I don't want to miss anything. When I'm randomly rambling on, then I can just do more ramble, or I can come back to it in a future ramble. When I'm trying to do a thing, I'm like, I don't want to miss anything. I don't want to get anything wrong. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. A bit of a perfectionist like that. So I guess I'm put off a little bit by that. I probably shouldn't be, should I? I should probably just go for it and see how it goes. And if I've missed stuff, like, you guys will all give me feedback and tell me whether things work and whether they don't. And if I've missed anything, you'll say. What is really cool about people who watch my videos, which is you lot, is that I've had very, very few people. When I have made some mistakes in a video, and I make mistakes, as I'm sure you all notice, when people point them out, they do it in a really nice way. It's like, dude, you can't do that. And I'm like, damn. And they're supposed to say, why didn't you just do that? You'd have saved this, and this would have happened. But you guys tell me in a really nice way. So I love the way you guys give me feedback. It's really cool. Right. That's capitalism done for a while. What have I missed? People saying how awesome level 2 is. Thank you. Back into capitalism. Yeah, units of 7 Marines. Elliot, I'm with you. I like taking units of 7 Plague Marines. Yeah. My original Death Guard army was 7 units of 7 Marines, 7 Plague Marines. It was a combination of Plague Marines and Havocs and Terminators and so on, but it was, 7s. 7. Oh, you can also now do things in 3s, because 3 is a thing with Nurgle as well. So any multiple of 3 or multiple of 7 or 3 by 7 kind of works. Hello. What would you like to see from the new Eldar Codex when it's released? What would I like? Oh, the computer's buzzing. Why is it doing that? Uh-oh. I think it stopped. What would I like to see from the new Eldar Codex when it was released? It's more what I don't want to see, which sounds strange. So, Drukhari, I like a lot of what they've done with that book. One of the things that is a bit jarring to me is the fact that they've given Hellions, which are basically a witch on a skateboard, a flying skateboard. They've put them up to 2 wounds, and they've put them up to toughness 4, which makes them the same as Reaver jet bikes. And you look at them, and you're like, there's no way this can take as much damage as that. It's just, I mean, even the profile, it's like, okay, there's a thin board at the bottom and dude stood on it, whereas this is a sort of sleek, pointy, coming straight for you thing, as opposed to dude flying on a thing. Da, 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 da. So I feel that they've given those a stat boost that isn't particularly narrative. They'd be far better off saying they've got a 4+ vulnerable save, because they are super, super dodge. I'd have been far happier with that. That would have been great. So what I hope they don't do with the Eldar Codex is I hope they don't try and balance out units for the sake of competitive play or selling models in a way that makes the units feel wrong. I want the scarcity to feel the same, to feel right in my mind, and I want things that are meant to be brittle to be brittle, and things that are meant to hit hard to hit hard. I don't want them to say, oh, all of these distort cannons, these are far too hard, so we'll put the strength down to 4. This gun hits a thing and opens a hole to the warp, and then it closes. And you're saying that's strength 4 AP dash now? No. Wrong. And they might. I don't know. I hope they don't. So for me, it's more of a series of hope they don'ts rather than hope they do's. I don't know why I'm looking for the mouse to scroll. Oh, yeah, it's because it's got a scroll bar on it. How's the box of chaos I got in the mail going? I've started painting the Helldrake. It's the vast majority of it's Thousand Suns, and it's all stuff that it's not next on the list. When I'm making my Thousand Suns army big, it'll be up there. There's also some stuff in there that isn't necessarily Thousand Suns. There are 6 dreadnoughts in there. 6. There's a Forge Fiend, which hasn't come up yet that I need to paint one of those. So it's like almost all my other armies, it's going to be there until I go, right, now I need to do this. This. Which is what's to do with the Helldrake. Oh, man. Apothecary Silas. You've ordered some Craftwell Pale Tan already. Wow, man. That is something else. Okay, so the thing I love about Bale Tan is they are amongst the really arrogant Craftworld Eldar. The Swordwind believes, no, we are superior to all these lesser races, and we shouldn't try and just fade away. We want to take this galaxy back. So we are superior. We are going to kick butt. So they have lots of Aspect Warriors, lots and lots of members of the Bale Tan Craft World follow the path of the Aspect Warrior and join Aspect Shrines. So they get all the toys, they get all the tools in the box. They're very Aspect Warrior heavy, with Guardians rather than being the standing army. They're sort of the crew for the war machines. So they're very cool, and you can do some really cool stuff with. They really, for me, there's nothing in the book that says Bale Tan have lots of warlocks, but a warlock is a seer who was once an Aspect Warrior. And when war comes along, they go to the Aspect Shrine where the Warlock helms are kept, and they don the Warlock helm, and they become Warlocks. So it stands to reason that any craft world that has lots of seers should have lots of Warlocks, because at some point, some of those will have been Aspect Warriors, so they'll have lots of Warlocks. And in a craft world where everyone has been an Aspect Warrior at some point, all the seers, almost all of the seers will have been warlocks. So you can do lots of warlocks with them as well, with all their battle spells and stuff. Yeah. And Autarch's really cool. And because all the aspects are different, you can do sort of all sorts of different janksy types of things. And you can mix in the Phoenix, or you can mix the Phoenix Lords in with any aspect. But because you'll have lots of aspects if you're doing Beltane, you can do you can do Baharoth, the Crier of the Wind, and say, well, I have some swooping hawks. So today, Baharoth has turned up with some swooping hawks, and he's fighting with my Beltane army. Sorry, I get very excited about Eldor. Thanks, Kat. Thank you. I'm glad you guys are enjoying this. And happy Easter to the Sappy Salamander too. I think that's what it says. Whoa, we've been going for 2 hours. I don't know if anyone's been here from the beginning. That does not feel like it was 2 hours. Well, it must be. I've been through 4 cans of Coke. At my drinking speed, that's quite slow, actually. It's probably because I've been talking a lot. It's ironic, actually. If it's not on 40k, I talk to a camera, I'm actually quite quiet and don't engage in a lot of conversation, and I am quite shy.